Hi, good evening, and welcome to the live stream. We're starting once again. It's Monday evening. It's live stream 8 in a row that we've done, and we've got lots of things to talk about. Hopefully, they're going to be good, they're going to be fun, and I've got some things to show you as well. So, we're going to talk about what's gone on in the last week, the videos that have gone out. I've got a health situation again. I'll talk about that in a minute. We've got the giveaways. We've got another week for the giveaways so that people can take part in that. And I've got something that I wanted to show you, but I'll do that later on. And it's something that we talked about last week in the live stream. So hold tight. You never know what's going to happen. And hopefully it's going to be fun. So how's your week been? It's been a bit of an odd one for me. I was at a wedding on Saturday. Cold. That's my major memory. It was on a farm, so it wasn't the best weather. Hello, Jonathan. How are you? Nice to see you in the room. First in this evening. Good to see you. Yesterday I was recovering. I had having some health issues again, sadly. And I spent yesterday, I didn't do a thing. I had the first day where I've just laid in bed pretty much all morning and then come downstairs, put the telly on and watch loads of old DVDs and videos as well. So that was fun. Hello, Chris. Welcome along to you. How's life in sunny Scarborough? I hope it's sunnier than it is here because it's been a bit overcast today, a bit miserable, you know what I mean? And it's given me time to get some stuff done, but the fact of the matter is I haven't got that much done. It's cold in Scarborough. Well, there's a surprise. What's it like in Cornwall then, Jonathan? How's it down your way? As you know, I'm looking over there at that. We're hoping... Hello, Raccoon. How are you? Good to see you. Let's hope tonight that this is going to stay working. Do you know what? I've practiced with the camera all week and I've tried it and it's worked perfectly for at least an hour every time. I've plugged it in tonight and I bet you can't guess what happened just before I started to go live. Yeah, it kicked out again. So only time will tell how long we're going to last. Cold and wet in Yorkshire, is it? It's not. It's that time of year, isn't it? It's autumn. We're coming to it. It'll be October in what, another day or two? Well, we've got to get used to it, haven't we? So let's have a think about what's been going on in the last week. I take it most of you saw my video on Friday. What brought it to mind? I saw a video Friday morning and someone did something much the same as I did. And it gave me the thought that actually it was time to just have a little... There was no script. There were no bullet points. And I didn't know what I was going to say, but I just knew I had to say something. And so that's what I did with that video. I had an occasion 8 years ago, funnily enough, the same day as I did that video, 8 years ago to the day, was the last time I did a radio show. Myself and Debs was going out one day, and we had this chat in the car. And I was telling her, just talking about my stuff in radio and that. And I talked to myself that day out of radio. We had this conversation, and by the end of it, I knew that I was finished. And I felt that Friday's video could have done the same thing, but it didn't. What it made me do was just go, I'm sick of listening to gurus. I ain't doing it no more. Let's just go for it normal and do what I want to do. And so I've been thinking about that over the weekend. We're going to see a few different videos coming your way. A lot of people have said to me that they liked my DVD videos, and we're going to do some more of them. There's some music ideas that have been given to me that people have come up to me and said, you could do a video about this and a video about that music-wise. And so I might do a couple of them as well. And I'll still do the stuff that I normally do, the encouragement videos and all that sort of thing. They'll still be there, but like I said, there's going to be a few changes and a few different things lined up as the weeks and months go on. Situations, right? I've got, as you know, I do tonight on a video, and I do a couple of other videos as well. I did say in that video on Friday that if I wasn't feeling so great, I may knock some of them on the head. Well, I'm in that position right now. I went to a wedding, as I said earlier, just now. I was at the wedding from just after 3, and we ended coming home at 6 because I felt rotten. So it's been a crap few days. I've made an appointment. I'm going to the doctor's the day after tomorrow to see where we're going. Raccoon, you would like to see some of my sign writing? Well, I've got a little treat for you, because I did go downstairs today and got out some painting that I did, and I'll show you them in a bit. Retro Reviews, hello, how are you? Just after lunchtime across the pond in Ohio, is it? Hope it's all right for you over there. Steve Vowles, hello, me old mucker, how are you? It's nice to see a few of you coming straight into the room. We've got some things I want to talk to you about later on. I'll tell you about that as we go. Yeah, so I've got health situations again. So what happens with videos this week, I'm not really sure. I'll see how I feel. I wasn't going to do this evening, but I figured, what the hell? I don't want to be diving out and doing videos straight away. But I like the live streams. We seem to have a bit of a laugh here, haven't we? Sunwriting, yes. Okay. Do you remember in last week's live stream, I said to you that I bought a load of job lot of records, and I bought them mainly because I knew there was some in there that I wanted. And so downstairs in my garage, I have got boxes and boxes of albums, old albums that wouldn't get picked up if I put them in a charity shop, to be fair. And so when we were on the lockdown, they'd been sitting there for about 5 years by then. So when I was on lockdown, what I did, I came up with a plan to do something. And what I was going to do is paint the records. Ones that I wasn't going to use, I was going to paint them and see where we go from there. And that's what I did. And so I've got some. This was a naff old LP, right? Rubbish. But what I did is that. Don't know if you can see that, if it's level or whatever. It's some paint in the background, and it's me with a pair of headphones on. that was something I knocked up and did. Northern Soul, just another album. They're all old LPs, and I just put some paint on them. Put a little hanger on the back so I can hang them up. There's another Northern Soul one there. Keep the faith. So as you can see, I've we're back. It's done it again. It's crazy, isn't it? It's just done it again. Hopefully you can see me again now. Where are you? I'm back. Yes, back. Deb, how are you over there in Canada? Nice artwork. Hi, Andy Warhol. What else do we do? Things that I played with. Pepsi. And last one. This is one I quite liked. Vinyl sounds better. There's some of my sign writing if you're okay. So, yeah, those are some of the things that I've done in the past, however long it is. So hopefully I've got other painting stuff, but I haven't really. How long did it take me to learn to sign write? 1 winter, basically. I was traveling on fairgrounds at the time, and I had one of those round hoopla stools that you get, and it was painted, and it was horrible colors. It was maroon and navy. I'm just having a look to see if I can find my photo album. I can't find it. If I can find it, I'll show you. And I basically learnt myself. I'm saying that my dad could sign right and my brother can sign right. So kind of, I've seen them do it and I learned slowly myself. I started doing things for me. And then people started asking me to paint stuff. Then I've painted rides on fairgrounds, other side stalls and things like that. So yeah, it was that I learned along the way. I haven't painted anything since these back in the lockdown. I've still got all the paints, still got all the paintbrushes and all that sort of thing. Maybe one day, if I can get around to it, I'll do a video painting something just to show you. So how long did these take? To paint one of these, that probably took me, I don't know, maybe an hour tops. This one took a bit longer because the background, this paint took 3 weeks to dry hard. It dried in a day, but underneath, because there was a lot of paint on it, it dried really, it takes a long time to dry hard. So I painted that. That was about 3 weeks. And then I painted some headphones on and me afterwards. That was something that I did there. So you'd like to see that, would you, Raccoon? Leave it with me. I'll one day I'll make a video cleaning all my brushes up and getting them all ready, and then we'll find something to paint on, because I don't have much here to paint on other than records. But I can honestly say these ones, you wouldn't really want to listen to what's on them anyway, because it isn't that good. Well, let me just see what you've been saying. I'm back. Hi, Tammy. I didn't see you come into the room. Nice to see you. Do I do commissions? I have done. I haven't painted in absolutely ages, so I've not done any commissions for a while. And it all depends on what you were after, Chris. Well, that's what I was thinking. Let me just show you something else I did with records I don't want. I've got one of these, which was an old 7-inch single. This one was a scratched version of Street Life by the Crusaders. I shoved that in the oven, made a little dish for that one. I've also got, I made table mats, all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah, I've had so many of them and I didn't know what to do with them. I made some of these to order for people and sold them, but I've not done one of them for such a long time now, to be honest with you. Right. Used to do crisp packets back in the day. Yeah, that would do the same kind of thing, couldn't you? Shove them in the oven and see how they go. Yes, I am familiar with the Jeremy Brett one. That was that in the 80s? I'm trying to think. It's a bit of a while back. That Sherlock Holmes was pretty good. How is my garden? Well, I did tell you about the garden. My son-in-law has started ripping it to pieces because I am the world's worst gardener. And we've got bushes and weeds that grew all over everywhere. So he's started on it and he's ripped out some tree stumps, which were hard to get out because there was cement all mixed in from it from when they put posts up on the house. So it took a while to get them off. But yeah, the garden is looking quite empty at the minute. 80s and 90s. Oh, I didn't realise it went that far in. And a whole cool fire in his house. Oh, right, fair enough. I used our oven, but I made they fell to pieces in the end because I didn't make them very well. You know, old cassettes. I made 4 of them like that and had them as pen pots. Yeah, I was trying to find things to do with them for a while, but there are still. We looked down there the other day and had a hunt through my records, down to what Chris Pomfret said, because he said about the Edward Woodward album last week, And I went to have a look through them and pulled them all out to see if I could find it, but I didn't have it. But that's where I found all these old records. I thought I'd let you have a look at them. Yes, I used to have, when I did radio, I had an online radio station of my own called I can't even think of it, Rewind Central, and I made clocks up out of the records as well. And I had Rewind Central, and I used to send them off to people. So I did that with a few of them. Yeah, the records are good for that, aren't they? What else? I think I've said everybody in there. Hope I've said hello to everyone, I think, who's in there. If some of you are still lurking in the background and would like to go into the chat room, I'll say hello to you as well. So, yeah, don't forget, there is a week left in the DVD and Blu-ray giveaway. This time next week, I will have done the draw. I'm doing it at noon on Monday next week. And I'll tell you who won what in the live stream next Monday. So if you want to take part in it, then all you need to do is email me at info@thesandscratcher.com and say DVDs, Blu-rays, or both, and I'll enter you into that. One of the Blu-rays that I'm giving, we talked about Sherlock Holmes. I'm doing this one. I'm just looking up there because the monitor's there and I can see what it is. That's the Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. If you want to see a really, really funny Sherlock Holmes film, I've got one that stars Michael Caine as Sherlock Holmes, and it's called Without a Clue. And it is hilariously funny, and it's well worth a watch. If you ever get the chance to see it, watch it because it's brilliant. It's called Without a Clue, and Michael Caine plays a very different Sherlock Holmes. Good film. That was well worth watching. What else has we got here? Yeah, Chris, most people, I think a lot of us made clocks with them. I did have an Etsy site, years ago now, and I sold a few clocks and things like that on there. But I did these for fun because we were in the lockdown and didn't have nothing else to do. I could have started my YouTube channel then, really, and been painting the records as I was doing it. I never thought of that. They could have made some money from them in the lockdown. So what am I doing for videos of this week? I was toying with the idea of doing a music video, which was along the lines of, I wrote it down here today if I can find it, 10 albums that I shouldn't like, but I love. I was thinking of doing one like that. What else? Someone said I should do a video about my DVDs and just pick some of them. Do you know what I mean? And pick some of my DVDs out and talk about them. I don't know. It's very early days as to what to do. Someone actually did a scan of my channel, and I'm just going to click over here and read you what it said on it. My most popular performing content on my channel is 34.4% of my top videos are about life advice and self-help. 28.1% of my top videos are about DVD media and content. And then the rest are 18.8% music related content, and 9.4% is nostalgic stuff. So my channel has like a quite a range to it. I haven't done as much music or video material video-wise for ages. So it's something that perhaps we're going to take a move on that. I'm serious, that Jonathan. Right. So I'm just catching up with what I really like this, I like the fact that you all chat to each other in the comments on the chat room. And that's great because normally it's just me chatting to you and you can only comment in a video in the comments. But when the live stream comes up, it's great that you can all talk to each other, don't you think? I really enjoy that. And I love that something that you say there can make me think of something, and I'll go off on a path that I didn't expect to at all. Talking of what I've been watching and stuff, last night I started The Good Life. I never really saw it in the 70s when it was on, and we bought it in a charity shop for about £3 or £4, I think, a while back, and it was the complete series of it. So I bought it on DVD, and we actually started to watch it last night, and we're 2 episodes in, and it's quite funny. I thought it might appear a bit dated since it was in the 70s, but it's not. And the other thing that I've started watching again, I'm into the second series of Miami Vice. Do you remember that? Back in the 80s, I fancied myself as a bit of a Don Johnson. I still had a bit of hair then, and it was a different colour. But I had a couple of those Miami Vice jackets and espadrilles, and I really liked that. And I thought I was cool until I got to the 5th series of it one night, and one of my mates turned up in an episode of Miami Vice, and he was cool and I wasn't. He'd gone to America and been floating around in America for a couple of months, and he got himself a job, and he turned up on Miami Vice in series 5. So I'm looking forward to seeing that again. Hi, Chasey, how are you? Not seen you for a while. I have to say, Steve, the Armani were nice. I didn't have an Armani suit, but I did have a couple of those pale-looking green jackets and things that Don Johnson would wear. I loved it. I'll tell you what, it's still cool. It's really dated, though, now. The music in it is really, really dated. And but it's still a good watch. It's still a good watch. The acting, some of the acting's a bit bad. Some of the acting's a bit bad, but it's still cool, and I still enjoyed it. So, yeah, I'm getting back into Miami Vice at the moment. Shoulder pads, Chris. Yeah, mine had shoulder pads as well. It's the first time I didn't look like I had round shoulders in my life. Hi, OJ. How are you? Jan Hammer did the theme tune to it, Steve. He also did an album called Escape from Television, and that was a lot of the songs that were played in the program. And I still have that CD here somewhere. Really quite good. So you've got a video out. I'll catch that either tonight or tomorrow. More likely tomorrow I'll catch that, OJ. Well, if I missed something about British TV, what's going on? There's a YouTube channel called Forgotten British TV. Oh, lovely. I'll have to check that one out, Raccoon. Thanks for telling that one. I've got the first 2 chapters, 2 series of Starsky and Hutch from the 70s on DVD, and I haven't seen the newer film, but if I come across it, I will do. Hello, Gaming TV. How are you? Nice to see you in the room. It's getting a bit of chat going on in this room today. It's really good. So, Tammy, you loved Starsky and Hutch. Yeah, most of us did. I'll tell you what else I bought the other day. The first series of Kung Fu. Do you remember that? Kwai Chang Caine. I picked that up recently. I already had series 2, but I finally got series 1. I managed to find it. I bought a new DVD player. I might have already told you this. I bought a cheap DVD player off of Amazon, and it's brilliant because it plays all of the different regions' DVDs. I had a couple of American sets, things like Spin City, The Odd Couple, and a film called Mr. Roberts that my mum loved, to come out in 1955. And some of those I bought on American DVDs. And I can now watch them again because this DVD plays all of the foreign region DVDs, so that's quite good. And it's really odd. I bought a cheap one, and it's better than the Panasonic one that I had before. So that's really good. Mr. Roberts is a fantastic film. You're right, Tammy. My mum had it, and I remember watching it when I was a young boy with my mum, and I saw it for sale somewhere and got it, only to find out when I got it that it was an American region one, and I couldn't play it on my DVD at the time. But back in the day, I ended up buying a DVD that you could change the regions with the remote control, and I got it playing. So that was really good. Do I remember the old grey whistle test with Whispering Bob? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Spencer for Hire. What's that one? I don't know that one. Don't know that one at all. Airwolf. That's on telly now, Chris. It's on, I think, a channel called Legend or something. We're talking about, it happens every time, doesn't it? We're back talking about TV and films and all that sort of stuff. By the looks of it, a lot of you like talking about this kind of thing. So if I do some music and DVD videos and things like that, it will still fit in with what we do because, of course, it's nostalgia. And I read something the other day that all physical media is being sold again in more amounts than it has done for years. And it's young people that are buying it. In fact, our granddaughter told her mum that she wants a record player for Christmas. So, and I think she's about 12 or 13. So she wants a record player. So it's not just us oldies that like the physical media. The young ones are starting to do it now. And I think it's because it's nice to have something to hold that's yours, isn't it? When you use Spotify, I used to use Spotify when I was doing radio to audition new music. And if it was any good, then I'd go and buy it. But I haven't, since I stopped doing radio, I don't very often look at Spotify. I've got enough music of my own that I don't need to. Do I like horror movies? To be honest with you, not really. They don't kind of frighten me that much, and they're all just a little bit gory. In fact, when it comes to the next giveaway of DVDs, I've got a whole bunch that I'm thinking about giving away as one lot. There'll be a mixture of Blu-rays and DVDs. I love the old. Let me tell you, when I was a kid, when I was about, I don't know, 13, 14, we had you've heard me talk about our bingo and our arcade on the holiday camp. And in them days, we used to open till about 11 o'clock at night. And then my dad would phone his brother up, who also had an amusement arcade further down the coast, to see how they'd got on that day. And so we'd go and watch the telly, and we'd have to watch the telly on silent because my dad was talking to my uncle Henry. And on a Saturday night in them days, BBC Two showed all the Hammer horror films, and they were like Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Vincent Price, Boris Karloff, and all of those kind of films. And I loved them. House of Wax was one that I liked. I loved them because I think it's because they're a bit corny. And I've obviously got good memories of it because my mum used to tell me about what was happening in the film. Because because we had to have the sound turned down, my mum would be whispering me the story as to what was going on. So yeah, I loved those. This is Raccoon, what you're saying about streaming series taking stuff off, that's a big problem, isn't it? I can remember it was one of the things that made me give up on the streaming. I was watching a series on Netflix, can't remember what it was now, and I'd got about 3/4 of the way through it, and then I went back one day and it was gone, and so I never did see the end of it, and that kind of put me off of it a fair bit, and that was something that I had no sort of choice about. And that's one of the problems I think that there is when it comes to streaming. When you've got your own DVDs, you can watch them wherever you like, can't you? Spender, Jimmy Now, brilliant. I loved Spender. That was a really good series, Steve. I have bought another Jimmy Now series, Crocodile Shoes. Do you remember that? I bought that on DVD a while ago. I haven't got around to seeing that yet. So I'm terrible. If I go into a charity shop and they've got a box set of films or TV series that I've always liked, I buy it, shove it in and I've got so many I've still got to catch up on. And the thing about it is, without spending the money that I used to spend on streaming, I've bought so many sets of DVDs and things. Finished watching ER the other day, series 6. I've got 15 of those, 15 series of ER that my wife brought home when she used to work in the charity shop. She used to buy anything that was good so that we could have it. Excuse me. What else? I was having a look up here. Jimmy Now. They did Raccoon. Crocodile Shoes was a single. Actually, the series was good. I bought the album soundtrack to that, and it was really quite good. I'm not a huge country fan, but most of the songs in that had a country feel to it, and it was quite good. I didn't mind it at all. So, yeah, Crocodile Shoes was good. What else have we bought? There are loads of sets of things that I bought. In lockdown, I bought so many box series. I bought all the Sharp films, and I think I've seen about 6 of those. There's still a few to go. See, Jonathan, I remember upstairs, downstairs, because my mum and dad used to watch it when I was younger. I never really got into those period dramas, I suppose you call them. But Deb's got me to watch Downton Abbey, and I loved it. And so we've kind of been watching those sorts of things. She got me watching The House of Elliot, that was on DVD, The Duchess of Duke Street. So loads of those types of series we bought. We've got, just trying to think, I've got the full set of Frasier, Father Ted, Ballykiss Angel. Oh, I could go on for ages. There are so many of those old series from way back when that we've got that I liked. I will tell her that she has taste, Jonathan. She'll like you more than me saying things like that. Likely Lads is on TV on one of the channels now. If you some retro TV channel, I don't know which one's which, but they were on there. I loved The Persuaders, Roger Moore and Tony Curtis. That was really good. You've just started rewatching Lovejoy. I have the full box set of the Lovejoy DVDs. I bought them a while back. I loved Lovejoy is a perfect type of program, to be honest, that I like, and I'll tell you why. I call it Sunday night TV. You know, like but a bit of comedy in it, and it's got a nice wind down feel to it, and so I loved that. Do you know what? I'm one of the few people who never really got Dad's Army. I tried watching odds bits and pieces of it, but Dad's Army never really did it for me. Chasey, Rising Damp is on one of the TV channels now. If you look in a TV magazine, I don't know which, there are a couple of channels. I'm just trying to think, not Legend, Retro TV or something like that, that they've got losing it again. See, losing it. This is what happens. What was it? Rising Damp. That was it. Rising Damp. Yeah. Chris Pomfret, you're currently watching Callan. Is it you watching the black and white series or the colour ones? We're becoming like a telly channel on here, aren't we? If you buy a TV, it has to be the entire box set. Yeah, I get that totally. I haven't seen Outlander. Jonathan, World in Action. There's a whole load of them on YouTube. If you go into to that, you can find a load of the World in Action ones. Because I watched a lot of them a couple of years ago. So it's it's definitely big on the TV tonight. I did buy a DVD today, funnily enough. When we went shopping, one of the charity stalls had a load of DVDs and books on the side, and I picked up the James Bond film Moonraker today for £1. That was okay. I haven't watched it yet, never seen it before, so why not? So anybody who's watching this, if you haven't entered the giveaway, there are 2 prizes that I'll be doing next week. There are 5 DVDs and 5 Blu-rays of different types that I'm giving away. I will post them to you. I will pay for the postage and everything. So all it will cost you to get entered into it is to send me an email to the info@thesandscratcher.com, and in the subject line put DVD, Blu-ray, or both. I will be drawing it next Monday at noon, and I will tell you the results of who won what in the live stream next week. What else have we got coming up? Indiana Jones movies on Blu-ray, on DVD, and that'll do for me. I don't mind replacing DVDs with Blu-ray, but the problem is it's so expensive. I've got about 800 DVDs, so to replace them all is way out of my realm. I'll pick up the odd one if it's something that I fancy, but for the majority of the time, I'll leave it as it is. Yes, I've seen The Exorcist. No, it didn't scare me, to be honest. But, I expect if I'd have seen it in 1973, it might have done, but in this day and age, I think it's still a bit dated, if you like. So everybody's having a good old chat about TV in it today. Let's have a look. See what else. So it seems like TV and film is the biggest thing that you're talking about in the minute. So I think I'll do a video about some of my films. There are already films on the channel. There's a video on the channel of my 100 favorite films that I did a while ago. That's on there. So I won't be on that, but there are certain films I could talk about and box sets and things. Might give you a tour of what I've got in the collection. Do I like John and Vangelis? Give me 2 seconds. I love this. Is that any good to you, Jonathan? I think that's a great album. The Friends of Mr. Cairo. Yes, I do. Alan Partridge. As someone who tried to do radio for a while, Alan Partridge didn't work for me. He was a bit too corny for me. I'll tell you what I will be giving away soon if anybody's interested in it. If there is enough people, because I'm surprised we haven't had that many entrants into this giveaway competition, and if there aren't many people bothered about it, I won't bother doing it because it's just work for nothing. However, there are some great DVDs that I've got that I can give away. Things like The Boat That Rocked, because I've bought that on Blu-ray. There's some decent-ish music one. I watched Tommy the other day, the Who film Tommy, the rock opera. I bought it last year sometime and actually watched it one afternoon. It's not bad, but I will be giving that away because it's not one that I'll watch again very likely. What else do we have? There's so much in those bags. I wish my memory was good because I'd rattle through what's in all those bags I've got downstairs. But people, their DVDs that people have given me and donated to me, and I did say that if I was once I'd watched them, I wouldn't sell them. I'd pass them on to somebody, because if they gave them to me, it wouldn't be right to sell them on, would it? So I'm just trying to think, is there anything else that what would you like me to do videos about? And this is for anyone who's also watching this on the replay. If there are any videos that you would like me to do, leave it down there in the descriptions, or you guys leave it in the chat room, and I'll see if I can come up with something that would fit into it. Movie collection and record collection. This here, I know you see it all the time, is only a very minute part of my collection of records. Downstairs in the living room, there's quite a lot, and there are some in the garage. Behind me, you can't see them from here. Well, you may be able to see down there. These are full of CDs. So loads of my CDs are there. I've got a pile up there. Where do I shop? These are Pringle jumpers. They come from the Edinburgh Wall Shop. There's one in Cambridge. Classic 70s novelty songs. Oh, I do love them. I do love a novelty song. But I actually think, Steve, the best for the 70s novelty songs have to go back to the 60s. You got Terry Scott and My Brother, Bernard Cribbins and all of those ones. So I love all of them. Do I have any 78s? Funnily enough, when I was going through the records in the garage the other day, we found one. There was one 78 in there. The ones that I had went years ago. Can I do a video on 70s sweets? Patrick, I haven't seen you in the room this evening, so welcome along to you. I could do. I think I may have already done one way back on the channel, because I can remember things like talking about refreshers. There's a story that goes on with myself and my younger sister. I'm 18 months older than her. And when we were kids, Steve Vales will remember this, in Burnham-on-Sea, where we lived at the time, we had a flat opposite the picture house there. And underneath our flat was a sweet shop, and a Mr. and Mrs. French owned it. And my mum would give me and my little sister sixpence each. So for all of you young people, 2 sixpences was a shilling. A shilling is 5p. But back in the day, a shilling would get you a really good ice cream or a good bar of chocolate. And I can remember telling my little sister, to give me her sixpence as we went into Mrs. French's shop. And I bought a bar of Bourneville chocolate, the plain chocolate bar of that. And then I told her that she wasn't allowed to have any, because on the advert it said for adults only. So I conned her out of her money to get a bar of chocolate. Do movies? Do I still have movies on VHS? Not really. No, the only things I've got on VHS now are old family videos that I recorded back in the day, and most of them, to be fair, are on compact VHS. So, do I have average of them? I'm afraid old cars. My brother had a 1935 Humber Super Snipe back in the day. I can remember when I was a kid, and it was like a big gangster car, and it had a running board along the side. Neighbours, pretty good. And it was black as well, so it really looked good when it went around the town. A packet of suck, what's that? KP Crisps, yeah. I will do a Christmas music video, Tammy. I did do one before at one stage. But yeah, once we get near Christmas, I'll do something about that. Do I have a magazine collection or comics? I collected in the 70s a magazine called Blues and Soul, which was, I collected them from about 1973 to about 77 or 78. And funnily enough, they're just here down the bottom. You can't see them, but they're in there. There was a series of magazines done called The History of Pop back in the 70s, and they're down there as well. The things that I collected magazine wise were all to do with music, to be honest with you. So I have a collection. Comics wise, not really. I obviously, as a kid, had comics. I did pick up this. Back to music again. When I've got a photo from when we lived in the flat at Burnham-on-Sea, and it had all of my Christmas presents on it, and it had an annual, and it had this annual, the Radio Luxembourg Record Stars book, number 5. And I saw this on eBay, and so I had to buy it. So I've got a few of. I've got a Land of the Giants annual. I've got a few annuals, but nothing really that you could say was a massive collection. Yes, Raccoon, I still talk in old money. There was a time recently, well, it's not recently, it's a couple of years ago. I may have mentioned this before. I was in our local post office in the village, and they had boxes of crisps in a crisp box, and it had on them family pack only 49p. And I'm stood in this queue watching it, and I'm thinking to myself about it. And I have to say, I swore I won't do it on it. But I went, F me, that's nearly 10 bob, right? And I just thought this in my head, 10 bob for a packet of crisps. And I'm chattering away in my head to myself. And in front of me was a dear little old lady, and she looked around at me and she went, yeah, they are expensive now, aren't they? So obviously I thought it, but said it out loud. Yeah, I still think in old money even today, but that comes from being a 5-year-old giving change in an arcade in the 60s, because that's what we used to talk about. We used to talk about half a crown and 2 bob, and well, half 150, as they call it now, was 30 bob in the day. And so I still kind of talk in old-fashioned money. Forgive me for keep looking up here because I'm just going and checking the chat room. Yep. Best Christmas movie, The Holly and the Ivy, you say. Now, we have a tradition in this house, and myself and Debs have had it ever since we've been together. We have Christmas films we call White Christmas, Holiday Inn. We count all of the Busby Berkeley type musicals as Christmas films. But the one tradition we've kept right the way through since we've been together is we watch Calamity Jane on Christmas Day for some reason. At some stage during the day, we'll watch Calamity Jane. I know it's not a Christmas film, but we watch it at Christmas. Let's have a look. What else we've got here? You're wearing a Duran Duran shirt. Or as Tony Blackburn said, Durham. Have I ever had bicycles? No. Motorcycles, sorry. No. I've never had a motorbike. I'm a bit of a wuss. I can't be honest. They frighten me. They shoot past me, and I always shiver. More power to you if you do it. I'm a chicken. I like being wrapped in a car, to be honest with you. Star Trek fan. It's not my kind of thing. I know it's like being sacrilegious to say that. I've seen a couple of the films and perhaps the odd one here and there as over the years, Star Trek, but it's not been my thing, to be honest. Yeah, crisps, chips. Yep, I get that fully. Do I have a modern or good audio system for music listening? Not anymore. To be honest, I play most of my music in this room. And so I'm listening to it with two computer speakers and a bass bin down there. Also, the fact that I now wear hearing aids is one of the reasons I don't bother anymore, because my quality listening of sound has gone. It's through years of fairground rides listening to loud music, DJing and discos, listening, sitting with like 2,000 watts of speakers either side of you, have done my ears in. So I don't have a great audio system anymore. I used to have, but since my hearing's gone apart, to be honest with you, I hear the bass, but I can't distinguish as well as I used to. Once upon a time, with fairground rides back in the day, they only had one speaker, and I can remember when piezo tweeters came out, buying them and making boxes for them to fit in and wiring them all up so you could hear all the that bit on it. So yeah, back in the day, I loved having great music, but now I'm just happy that I've got music. Like, I like to be able to listen to the stuff I love, and I still do. But most of the time, I have to say, it's spent listening to music in here. Underneath my, pardon me, underneath my desk, there's a reel-to-reel tape recorder down here. My disco computer that I used to do, because I got sick of carrying records and everything, and changed all my music over to files and digitally. And I've got my disco computer here, and that's got 46,000 tracks on it. I've got a CD player here, a mini disc here, and a cassette player there. So all of my music is all wired into that. And to be honest, I just listen to it through my computer speakers. Steve Vowles, you remember half a crown from your dad as pocket money. This is where your dad and my dad were so different, because my dad brought me up and said, this is at 5 and 6 years old. He said to me, nobody gives you anything in life. If you want it, you got to work for it. And so he'd shove me in the cash desk in the arcade, or minding the little gift stall that we had at the end of the arcade. And that's how I got my money. He used to pay me money for that. And the trouble was, I used to go straight down the record shop and spend it all on records. So no, and fun. It's funny how you become like your dad. I can remember when I was about 15 or 16, saying to my dad, because we always worked in the arcade and worked long hours all the time. If I wasn't at school, I was working in the arcade. And I used to say to my dad, I'll never treat my kids the way you treat me. They'll have this and I'll make their life much easier. And the funny thing was that I turned completely into my dad. My kids never had pocket money. I used to make them do jobs around the house. Then they'd get paid. And I think quite well, because they both are hard-working boys who both went out at 16, and one started an apprenticeship, one started working in the local paper, and they've both been working ever since. Do I get tinnitus? Yes, I do. And funnily enough, I got it the other day when I went to the wedding. The wedding was on a farm under a marquee, and everybody cheered the other day. And it's the first time I've been to a party since I've had hearing aids, and they whistled, and then it just kept whistling. And so, yeah, I get tinnitus every now and again. Not as much as I used to, mind you. Giant eggs and being too close to the front. That is another thing, yeah. Do I have any regrets? Not particularly. I would say that there are things that I kind of regret, but there was things that I can't have much input on. For example, like I said, I had a funny relationship with my dad. I've done a video about this as well, and so the video is on there. But me and my dad had a working relationship. We weren't like a father and son much, more like a boss and his under manager. And we would we didn't have a close personal relationship, and I've always regretted that. And my dad died with a heart attack, and at the time I was living 100 miles away. So I did it. He'd gone to a party. This is the best way if you're going to do it. My dad went to a party, come home, sat on the settee, and my mum said to him, "Do you want a cup of tea?" And he went, "I'd love a cup of tea." And by the time she pulled the kettle and turned around, he'd gone. And so he was lucky in a way, but it was harder for all of us. And I regret that I never told my dad I loved him. Should have done. I'd do it with my boys all the time. That's a regret, yeah. And I regret that my first marriage went like that. But it just happened. After 28 years, we both wanted completely different things. And so, yeah, I regret that happening. Nobody wants to be a failure. But apart from that, no, I can't say I've got any regrets, to be honest with you. I always look at, when they talk about regrets usually come from some kind of failure. And I always try, I don't do it successfully all the time, and you'll have heard me say this in videos, that if I fail at something, or something goes wrong, or I do something that causes something to go wrong in business or whatever, I don't have regrets, but I kind of look at it as a learning lesson. And so I can take a step back, look at it, learn from it, so that I don't make the mistake the next time. So, and that stops me from a lot of regrets. I would think that as much as I, like now, I'm just chatting off the cuff, and you do, I never try to take somebody on. I never try to insult somebody. I never try to talk badly about people. Don't get me wrong, I fail at times. We all do. But I don't do them kind of things, so I've got nothing really to regret. The things that have gone wrong in my life, I've looked back and kind of thought, right, I won't make that mistake again. I've learned from that. Some things I've had to learn a couple of times because I didn't take it in the first time. So no, I wouldn't say I've got lots of regrets. Do I like fish and chips? Love fish and chips. For me, there's only one place for fish and chips though. It's Great Yarmouth, and the fish and chips there are top quality. There's something to do with the fat they cook them in. There's a smell to the fish and chips in Yarmouth that I absolutely love, and if I go there, I have to have fish and chips. And to be honest, I think fish and chips at any seaside town is always great. Do I still collect records? Yes and no. Yes, in the way that I'm still collecting records. Mostly it's stuff, though, that my dad would have got. When he passed away, no one really wanted his records. I didn't either. And that was in 1994. But I've kind of found that as I've got older, the stuff that I hated when I was young that my dad liked, then I kind of started warming to it. And if I hear anything, or if I go into a charity shop, it's always a charity shop, and see one of the albums there that my dad used to have, I will always buy it. And I buy it, I bring it back here, I digitize it, it goes in those cupboards, never to be played again. But I do play them quite often, to be fair. And so I buy records like that, yeah. What's next? Yeah, raccoon, that's a total one. I was being worried about what other people think of you. It's a bad thing. My mum, I blame my mum for this. She, bless her heart, she used to say to me, always be on your best behavior. People make their first impression of you when they first see you. Always give a good first impression. Don't leave an impression that someone's going to talk about you. And so I always was brought up with that way. So I always tried to be my best self. The problem with that is that sometimes, especially in the formative years when I was a teenager and early adult, um, my best me wasn't wasn't a good one. There are moments when I've lost it. I can remember numerous occasions where I've lost it and gone off the handle on that. Luckily, I don't do that anymore. So I didn't behave at my best. But also, one of the other things was, although I come across as outgoing and doing this sort of thing, you'd think I would be. I'm normally quite introverted. If I go somewhere, the wedding we went to the other day is a perfect example. I was fine around the people that I knew, and I take a step back around people that I don't. And I don't become outgoing until I kind of know you. And that's really silly saying that when I'm chatting to you on here, and most of us have never met. And so, yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. Caring too much about what people say, and one of the worst ones, and I talked about it recently, is being a yes man or a yes woman, saying yes because you want to be liked. People don't think any better of you if you keep doing it. You've got to turn around at some stage and start to live your life your way and go, no, don't want to do it. I've got to the stage now if anyone asks me to do something, I'm straightforward. If I don't want to do it, the answer is no. Don't even need to give a reason if you don't want to. Just say no. So you haven't got to be doing that all the time and trying to be someone that you're going to be liked and doing. So the thing is, when you say yes to other people for everything, and I did this for years, up until I was probably 55. When you say yes to everybody, there are always times, and often a lot of times, when you're saying yes to them, but really you don't want to do it. There is other thing you can be doing. Times I've said yes to someone if they wanted me to do something for them, and I had other things that were more important than that I needed to do, but had said yes because I wanted to be liked. And in the long run, when I think back to the times I've done that, I've never been better thought of for doing it. And then when you do say no, when you've always said yes, then they just rip into you. And they don't do it to you, they do it behind your back to somebody else. And you hear about it because it always comes back. Someone can't wait to tell you what someone else has had to say. I don't know why they do the chips. Oh, that sounds nice, raccoon. That sounds nice. I'd have a go at that. I'm talking about the chips, by the way. Worrying about people think it's crippling. It is indeed. And I think it comes with age, that as you start to get older, you just stop trying to please everybody. You can only live your own life. You can only be your own person. And that's the only way you can go. At the end of the day, I used to spend so much time worrying about what I needed to do for other people that I neglected my own things. And you end up, running about like a lunatic, doing stuff for people who don't think anything of you anyway. And the time when I found out about this is when my marriage split up, because people that I'd been the yes man for years started walking across the street to avoid talking to me. And you realize at times when you can do with a bit of support, that being a yes person is probably the worst thing you can be, because the people that you think will help you because you've helped them are always going to be at your back and help. And it ain't the case. So for me, I love what Steve Vales has just said. I've just seen it on my chat room. Live your life how you want to live it, and do it and feel good about it for yourself. Your life is too important. We have a short run at this, and everyone on here who's been around the channel for a while will know my health situation has been a bit crap lately, and it just reminds you that do what you want out of life. Obviously, don't do what you want if you're going to do something that's going to harm somebody in some way. I'm a great believer in sticking to your morals, doing what you think is right, so that when you lay your head on the pillow at night, you can go to sleep with the thought that you've done nobody any harm. If you can live your life that way, I think you pretty much got it. Learning to say no is an important lesson. It is absolutely. You've got to, Raccoon. I'm just reading your comments about your wife and her, and yeah, you can't. You have to live your life your way, because every time you cover for somebody else, there's going to be a time when you want time off, and they're not going to do it for you. So you may as well just do what's right for you and the people that you love. If you do that, you won't go far wrong. Saying no can be very liberated. It's lovely, isn't it? Sometimes I just love saying no. Do you know what, Raccoon? I wish I could have been like you at an earlier age. I always wanted. I blame my mum. My mum was the loveliest lady. Never found anything bad in anyone if she could find it. She'd always. I think I've spent my life trying to live up to my mum and dad's standards, and I've always followed what they do. But my mum, when I was young, when I used to go out, she would always say about be on your best behavior, make sure you're nice, don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that. And it was all to do with behaving and interacting with people. And although it gave me good lessons, what it also did was made me too pliable around people, too easy to be bent into the shape that they wanted me to be bent in, because I was trying to please all the time. And I was like that until when my wife and I split up, my first wife, that is, in 2010. I discovered that all that being nice made no difference at the end of the day. And all people that I thought, the majority of people that I thought were friends, suddenly didn't want to know me anymore. So I understood then that you whatever you do isn't always help everyone. You will find people. There are people. I've talked about this too on the videos. Your tribe. There are people who will support you in everything you do. And when things do go wrong, and they always do, the same people will be people who will put their arm around you and say, come on, you can get through this. And they will be there when you're down on your bum, if you like, and you've got to get back up and start all over again. The tribe, you'll find them. You find a lot of them when times are hard, and you realize who they are. They're a much smaller number than the people that you think are there for you. And what I've found is quite often it's strangers who have no reason to have you back, as opposed to family who should have. And I've found that over the time as well. So it's an important thing that you have to live and learn. I know that it was very hard for me when I first split with my wife and moved away. It was really hard when people that I knew totally ignored me, and people who had always been in touch suddenly stopped answering the phone, and suddenly if they saw me would cross the road, and I've watched them do it, cross the road and go to the other side, have to talk to me. And so if you can do it at a young age, more power to you, my man. Good for you. Do I have any desire to write a book? No, is the honest answer. When I was on Facebook, and I'm actually reposting some of them on my blog on Substack, I used to tell stories and talk about people that have been in my life who've helped me along the way, who've done things for me and did favors for me that I never felt I thanked properly. So I did it in public on Facebook. And the people that were there, either they had a family member there or they were on there themselves. So I sort of did that. And I did lots of writing and telling stories of my life and when I was at boarding school and all those sorts of things. I've done all of that. They're all on Facebook. Although I don't go on there anymore, my page is still there and all the stories are still there. I've started posting some of them on my Substack account, but a lot of people have said to me over the years, you should write a book. Well, when it was the lockdown, I started it and I wrote what my plan had been at the lockdown. I was coming 60, so I was going to do a chapter for every year. Well, we're back again. It's done it again, but at least we've managed to get back again. And I've forgotten where it was. Oh, yes, I was talking about writing my book. I wrote up until I was 13 and got as far as that. But to be honest, I didn't enjoy it. When I write posts, or when I used to write posts on Facebook, it would be because something had happened that day that brought back a thought, and I would write it as I was doing it, as I was thinking it, because it was there and then. And I enjoyed that, and a lot of posts went over quite well, and people liked them. However, when it came to writing a book and actually going chapter by chapter, year by year, and researching what happened to see what I was doing, I kind of didn't enjoy it. And I got to 13, chapter 13, and I was at boarding school. And I'd made a decision then I didn't want to write the book. And so I kind of stopped. And I've never had the urge to go back in. The other thing about writing a book, which I think is interesting, is that the most interesting parts of writing a book or reading a book are the parts when times are really hard. And those times, like when I lost my business and lost pretty much everything, were tough times. And what happened there, I haven't really gone into, and I don't have any intentions going into. But they were hard moments of my life. And I've never really talked about it properly to people that I know, let alone write down in a book. And I don't want to go through it and share it. And yet I know they're the bits which would make the book really, really good. And so that's why I've never done it. Like I said, I did that and I wrote the first 13 chapters. They're still done there. And I've never had any sort of feeling to go back and do that. Where else am I? Where am I? I'm losing track of everybody. Hang on a second. Whenever she wants books, do I believe in Jesus? Ever read the Bible? Does that answer the question? I've got the Bible just there. And I recently, well, not recently, about 6 months ago, started reading it again. And I read it every now and again. I'm not one for speaking about religion, and I have no intentions of doing that on here. All my thoughts about it, much in the same way I won't talk about politics, because it can be divisive and can start arguments, and I don't want to do that. This is a fun labour, is my channel. And so, no, I won't be talking about religion, and I don't really want to talk about my beliefs or anything like that. Genuine friends, let me tell you, the amount of people, I don't care who you are, genuine friends are on that hand. If you've got more than that, I'll be amazed. And you don't realize that until the times when you really come unstuck and you need them. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's how it feels for me. Let me think. Where am I? Where am I? You guys, you're doing well with these tonight. Deb, you prefer writing over video. I think there's a place for both. I love writing. I'm not great at it. I like to share stories. I used to, that when I was doing Facebook, I would, in my car, I've got an MP3 player and it's got about 60,000 different songs on it. And I would go out, and during the course of a journey, I will hear a song and it will take me back to a certain place at a certain time. Music does that to me. Music's very nostalgia for me. And so I could hear 5 or 6 different records and have 5 or 6 different memories come back to me. And I would go on Facebook and write about every single one of them at the time because it's brought to me that time. I can write like that. If I'd left it a day and wanted to write it again, it'd be pretty poor because the feelings and the emotions that I went through with the memories go down on writing as well. And so I think there's a great place for writing. And I still feel I didn't used to. I've never kept a diary, but I've kept a journal for the last 5 years. So I've kind of talked about everything that's gone on from day to day. Yeah, I know. Someone said to me about taking the transcript of just doing Facebook posts, like a Facebook memoir, if you like, and just copying and pasting all of the different things and making them into a book. But truth be told, don't know whether I'm lazy. I don't know what it is, but I've never really had the urge to do it. I tried writing the book. I tried it and didn't enjoy the process, so I've never done it. But that would not stop me. I've now got my blog over on Substack. That wouldn't stop me sitting down and hearing a record or something this morning. Records to me and music is like a box of old friends because everyone that I listen to has kind of memory that goes alongside it. And so when I play music, it's like revisiting an old friend. And so when I do write the stories of my life, they've always got some music that have brought them back to me. A perfect example of that would be going back to 1973. I would have been 12, 13 years old. My sister hadn't been married long. And the boy that she'd married, his dad had a set of Dodgems or bumper cars, whatever you want to call them. And I know, Steve, good to see you. I'll see you next time. Cheers then, my friend. Anyway, we're going. Okay, we're back again. It looks like it's telling me that my stability is being a problem here. So I might call it a day in a bit. Yeah, I was telling you about 1973. My brother-in-law, his dad had a set of Dodgems, and they were open at a fairground at a little place called Englefield Green, which is right alongside the Thames near Runnymede and then near Staines and that. And they was open there one day, and I was just a little kid. The actress Diana Dawes came down the ground because she lived in a house not far from where the fairground was. And she came on the ground and she had a go on the Dodgems. And I spotted her and jumped in a Dodgem car, as I could for free, obviously. And as she drove around the track, I just smashed her and knocked her over the Dodgem track for the whole ride. And I was a horrible, horrible little boy. Anyway, I did this. And then at the end of the ride, when she got out of the ride, I ran to the cash desk and asked Uncle Billy for a bit of paper and a pen. And then I went up to her and asked for her autograph. And the words on the autograph said, "To James, who banged me 100 times, love Diana Dawes." And it's that kind of thing. And the record that brings that back to me is "Tie a Yellow Ribbon" by Dawn, because that was playing on the Dodgems at the time, and it's always stuck with me. So music is often represents lots of different little memories that I've had. Where are we going now? Where are we going? Thanks, Deb. I've got the feeling I may disappear soon because it's crashed, 3 times in the last 20 minutes or so. So I don't know how much longer we're going to get from it before it runs out. But that's, yeah, memories and music and writing books and all that sort of thing. Yeah, I've tried it. I don't think I will. If any of you are on Facebook, you can go in my account and scroll through it because there's loads of stories and things from times gone by and things that have happened and people who have meant a lot to me and I've talked about. Most obviously, you won't know any of them, but they meant a lot to me, so I shared them. So that's pretty much it. Your brother wrote a book with 700 pages in. Wow. Deb's brother has written a couple of books. In her family, they've got a few people who've written books. So I'm not going to live up to that, I'm afraid. Brilliant, Tammy. Lovely to see you as always. Thank you very much. I will speak to you, no doubt, very soon. So, yeah, so writing a book is something that I can't see happening. But you never say never, can you? Because you just don't know what's going to happen down the road. Right, we've been on here. Wow, hour and a half. I didn't think I was going to be on here this long tonight. What's my name on Facebook? James Murphy. It's just my normal name, Deb. It's there. I don't go on the. Yeah, there's a bunch of James Murphy, but none of the others look like this. So yeah, it's James Murphy on Facebook. But like I said, I haven't used it. I came off of social media on August the 14th, and I've not got back because I don't get wound up by all the other stuff that I see on it. So is there anybody got any questions that they'd like to ask me before we call it a day and wrap this up? Like I said, I'm aiming to get some videos done this week. I got a feeling it might be a video about DVDs or maybe even music. I don't know. We'll see what it does when I come up with it. Yes, I am on. That's where you can get it. If you go into the old YouTubers group, you'll find it there. Yes. Yes, Chris, once again, I love the live streams. They're such an enjoyable thing to do because I love the fact that I get to talk to you guys and that you talk back to me and guide us off on a tangent, which I'm very easily taken on, as you probably have noticed. So I'm going to wrap it up now. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been an enjoyable evening. It won't accept friend requests. I don't know why. I don't know, Debs. I don't know if I can help you with that one then. Thank you, Raccoon. It's been great having you here with us again. I've enjoyed it. Same to absolutely every one of you. It's lovely to chat with you. And it makes Monday night so good for me. It starts the week off brilliantly chatting with you guys. I'll be back in a few days, hopefully. Like I said, I've got to thank you, Retro. It was good to have you here. Thanks so much for being here. Who else? Am I going out to sleep? No, but I'm going downstairs to sit in the telly with my wife, and that will have the same result, I would imagine. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. I'll speak to you later in the week. It's been great fun, as always, and I look forward to doing this again with you next week. I have got a doctor's appointment in a couple of days, and we'll see where it goes from there. Thank you so much. Oh, Green Pill Neo, I'm so sorry you got here at the end. Project Weaver, hiya. Oh, we've been going for an hour and a half, and I would probably go longer. However, my stability is not very good and it keeps throwing this out. It started doing it in the